here, and his name is Voitto Kangas. And if we can get Voitto Kangas.
Victory Claw.
Voitto Kangas, welcome to Hanken Business Labs.
Hello, sirs.
Podcast.
Welcome, sir.
Hey.
Welcome.
We've been kind of trying to figure out, because Isaac and I, we're very ignorant people, so we don't know what accelerators and incubators are. But Marcus has now helped us a little bit.
Yeah.
You are the director of Maria 01.
Yeah.
And I had a student this summer when I took some of my students over there to show it around, and I said, "What are your first impressions?" And this is a guy from Texas A&M.
And everything is big in Texas.
Where everything is vast. Do you know what term he used? He said, "My first impressions are that this is vast." And it is enormous. How big is it?
So we're now 10,000 square meters, like space-wise, but the space doesn't...
10,000.
10,000 square meters. It really doesn't matter because we just pack people. So what we look at is sort of the amount of people we have working daily, and that's 700 people right now.
Right.
Out of which half do code. So we really like the nerd. We call it the hospital of nerds.
Hospital of nerds.
Yeah.
That's about the population density of Finland. That's a pretty nice parallel there.
Yeah, we have some teams with team members of 12, and they're using one room where the whole team sits. So everybody has like this one corner where they are. Yeah.
But how many square meters are?
10,000. So we're
10,000 square meters.
Yeah, we're expanding to 20,000 now.
It's vast.
It is quite
vast.
It is quite big. So we're expanding to 20,000 now. So we'll double the space in roughly 3 years. Yeah, that's quite tricky, but then it's quite large. And we just now at Slush, the city of Helsinki published that if somebody wants to do the rest of the campus, so 40 to 60,000 square meters of new space, which would then be also smaller companies or and let's say scale-up companies, so 20 plus employees, they could do it now. They could start doing it already. So we're on the lookout for property investors and people who will come.
Great.
Right.
Soon, actually, then you're challenging Station F in center of Paris that are currently boasting that they are the world's largest incubator.
Yeah, they got it first. Like, about yeah.
How big are they?
I think there are roughly 1,000 people, companies, and 33,000 square meters, but they're expanding as well. But you don't, like, the largest I've seen was in Chengdu, 80,000 square meters, 6 buildings.
80.
They talk about development zones.
Where is this?
Chengdu,
China.
It's like the middle of China. Beijing, they have Z Park, which is 4,000 square kilometers. So it's marketing for most of us.
It's like a country.
It's a country, yeah.
Basically like
yeah.
a country.
Can I ask another stupid question? Why on earth do we, is this the first time in history that we need such spaces for entrepreneurship to flourish? What's going on? Is this precedented in history somehow? Have you seen, why now? Why does capitalism need enormous kind of caretaking in terms of buildings and kind of programs and so on? Why is that happening now? Do you have a sense of it?
I don't know if this is completely like amateur guessing, but one of the economic phenomena that has happened with urbanization is the creative spillover, intellectual spillover, and I think am I right in diagnosing that this is sort of a compressed version of the intellectual spillover that you get from cities, just people living in cities? Because half of the point of incubators is not the organized programs that you have, but the people meeting each other, running to each other on the hallways.
Yeah. So I call this the sort of trend of hubs. So most likely we're not going to be working in sort of these silos, like I have my company and it's this place and it's this industry and we have this main office here, but people are going to be formed inside tribes. So you're going to be attached to many places.
Okay.
So what you see WeWork doing is you get access to, tens, hundreds of locations globally, and you're a WeWorker. Like, that is like one trend. We will build these sort of star systems of spaces, and you already have these players globally going on. For us, kind of, everybody who's doing space now, because space is a commodity, mostly, like there's just a lot of empty space in the market for office and etc. What we're doing now is just building moats. So we want to be the place with moats around our space.
Okay,
so
moats,
capturing
yes.
the people inside, making sure that the sort of tribe is very collective and compact, and hoping it will attract more good people inside that.
Okay. You use other terms such as other strange terms like entrepreneurial ecosystems, and I said this to a friend of mine, and he said, "Well, that's a mouthful, isn't it?" Enormous this kind of claim, but there is a truth to it at somewhere.
You have a 20,000 square meter area; it's almost an ecosystem.
It is an ecosystem. I mean, all sorts of germs will flourish there.
Right.
Yeah. Like, so we subscribe, as for entrepreneurial ecosystem, the idea that every successful company will spin off to 3 successful companies, to 3 successful, so it's like a mushroom.
I see.
So like what we see now, example in Maria happening with the sort of 100 companies we have, already people are leaving and starting companies inside Maria. So they're like going stealth mode, leaving their early stage startups and employee, starting a company. So it starts building from the inside out.
I see.
Because you have this sort of density of people who have entrepreneurial blood or are working at a growth company.
To your original question, why are these happening now? You know, I started my internet stuff in '97, and they were the first internet tech, and now 20 years later, we're seeing a huge upsurge of these incubators. We didn't have incubators at that time. And in one sense, I would say that this is part of making capitalism more fun, but it's also more competitive, because there's really a sort of an energy component to this. You're working together a bit closer with other companies, you learn from each other. It's a more efficient way of organizing to have these clusters and clustering effects, like the incubators are doing. You know, you guys are huge in Finland, but on international scale, we're always going to be a smaller country. I think where we could put our bar is maybe not the hugest on the global stage, but we for sure can be the coolest place to do stuff. And here I'm not talking about the temperature what we have here in Helsinki, but also maybe that as well. So but there's interesting ways we can lead the pack and do collaboration and ecosystems like with Maria. We're happy to help and feed into you companies as they mature in Hanken and grow out of the Hanken co-working spaces that we have.
Yeah, like in the end, especially looking at Nordics now, capital is no problem. Like if you have a pulse and you can walk on 2 weeks and do code, like you can start a company. And for the technical side, like everything is available from the start. So having an internet, I know companies in Finland who've been around 3 years, raised 1 million. They never took an office anywhere. Like they don't need it.
Right.
They're just hanging about. And then when you start building a team, maybe then they would get a space or join an ecosystem. But for starting a company now, like you literally need just good brains.
Is there a visible increase in the spirit of sort of collaboration between early stage startups, or people just companies in incubators because they live in the same space, or does it create a sort of you talked about increased competition within the incubators? How does it affect the feel of
I would say overall competition globally, and I wouldn't say the competition inside of the incubator. They're actually more of a co-competition. You're helping each other out in the incubators. That's I think the core of the incubator, that you give out, does somebody know a coder? I have a brilliant coder, and what about you? Do you know somebody can create a nice logo for us? So they're exchanging resources with each other. So I see this a place not for competition but for cooperation, helping out on the journey.
I think that this is a very good question of competition and collaboration. Kind of
are they opposed to each other?
That's the kind of method. The neologism is to say what did you call it?
Co-competition, where I would say most of the cooperation happens inside of the incubator, and the competition is out there in a fierce way.
And, you said
maybe we can help.
It's like a portmanteau of cooperation and competition. Okay,
yes.
I see.
Yeah. We'd like to say thank you to Voitto Kangas for joining us.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
We have so many more questions, but perhaps we'll have to organize this next year again.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Hey, have a fun Slush.
Have fun Slush. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
And we have a